Welcome to it. Remember, we are live on Twitter as well as on Facebook. We are also on TikTok, Instagram as well. It's at SNWA, Sports Night Live Amplified with Andile. We play the show out in full on YouTube every single day after you've seen it. Clips can be caught of interesting moments that happen on the show. On Instagram, it's at SNLWA, as well, of course, as on Twitter and Facebook. To all those watching right now, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. You are live on Facebook. I do occasionally go on and read some of your comments and questions as well, so please do keep them coming. It's a fantastic story, isn't it? South African players at junior levels, like in most countries, don't get to be paid. The difference is in most countries, you know, there'll be things that are put aside so that they're able to go to the training ground, they'll get educated there, they'll eat there, they'll get clothed by the club as well. It's a little bit different here. It's out of pocket for most of the ladies and gentlemen that take on soccer teams in the lower levels. So winning and getting to the upper levels is tantamount to the glory, really. That is the big thing. That's what everybody wants to do. So how far would you go to get a win? How far would you go to make sure that your team progresses? Well, they go far. Paying off referees, paying off whoever it is that you can. It happened in South Africa. Luka ball controllers versus Swartruggens chairman had a bit of a tiff because the two of them, they couldn't play their match. The one took and kidnapped players from the other, kept them in his car, didn't let them go until the match was called off. If the match is called off because the one team doesn't have enough players who are under the age of 23 to make it to the field, therefore the one chairman benefits. It came out later that the players were kidnapped because the money they were promised they didn't get. So therefore they went and sang. And in their singing, we had the chairman come on here, and he said he had absolutely no idea what was happening. He doesn't know what could have happened. He doesn't know what we're talking about. He was on the show. Let me play you a little bit of Chairman Isaac Mataboge of Luka Ball Controllers when he was on the show, saying that everything is a lie. And of course, now we've got the conclusive proof that if there is a lie, it's what he was saying. Have a listen. Did you speak to players from Swartruggens at any point?
No.
You've never spoken to them. You've never offered them money. You've never seen them. You don't know what they're talking about. This is all lies.
Yeah.
Everything is a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie.
They were never in your car. You didn't go into the farms with the police chasing you.
No.
You were never arrested.
No, I never arrested.
So what were you doing at the police station?
Because at the police station, these people who are saying me are already taking the under.
But how did you arrive at the police station?
With the police.
I mean, already in that clip there, so much inconsistencies. I can tell you now that I can conclusively say that he did go to prison. He was arrested, or at least a holding cell. I've got the video footage that shows him inside a cell. So the chairman, Isaac Mataboge, wasn't being honest with us here. He then went on, of course, to be adamant that he didn't kidnap the players. He had absolutely no idea. This is another clip from the very same interview. Mazola Molefe was here with me when we conducted these interviews. Have a listen. Yeah, but why are they lying about you? Because it's their players that are missing.
Because we are going to play together. That's why you think it's me and I take the under.
And you didn't take the under as you.
No, I didn't kidnap the under. The mother who was in conversation with the under. He said, open the case of the kidnapping. The under is saying, no, I'm not kidnapping. I'm at Rastimbe. Another one, he saw him at the ground. He was at Viras or Masige. The under at the church. You know that the chairman.
The chairman is here. He can hear you.
Yeah, he phoned another under. He says at the church.
Who's at the church?
I don't know. The under, another one.
So the story is, if you missed the very first one, the chairman kidnaps the boys. The boys are in the car now. They realize that they're not getting their money as per promise, 20,000 rands between 4 players. You know, that was going to be split at between 5 players, which was going to be split amongst them for the money that they thought would be 5,000. But it turns out, you know, they weren't going to be paid that money. So when they realize that we're not going to get paid their money, they start speaking now to their boss, their chairman, to say, hey, we're in trouble here. We have been kidnapped. And that's when the story now begins. It's now gone through all the disciplinary actions that is needed. I've got with me the chairman of the team whose players were kidnapped. He sits across from me. I want to get into a little bit of that, and we're hoping that Mr. Mataboge will call and come on as well. He's offered as his lawyer. He says, no, I'm not going to be talking. Please speak to my lawyer. We've got conclusive evidence, of course, of everything having happened, and it all came out in the sittings. Lawrence Chloe is Swartruggens chairman, which was the opposition to the chairman that you've just heard. Chair, thanks so much for joining us and welcome. We'd love to put a conclusive end to the story and to hear its finality. and we're glad that you could pop in again. How are you?
I'm well, Andile. Thanks and for having me.
The last time you were here, very unhappy. Your players kidnapped. Your players aren't able to show up for a game. Therefore, that game doesn't happen. What's happened since then?
Well, since then, we had lodged a formal complaint with the regional league, Safa Bujanala, to actually find some, intervention from the league. And we have held a disciplinary hearing, I think, a week ago. And the disciplinary hearing, of course, there has been some sanctions that have been preferred against the Luka Ball Controllers chairperson.
So he's gotten sanctioned. So there was conclusive proof that this actually took place.
Quite interestingly, Andile, when we were at the hearing, the chairperson of Luka Ball Controllers has actually indicated that he was at Swartruggens a night before. He collected 4 of our players. He gave.
I like how you say collected. Let's be PC. Let's say collected. Okay.
Yeah. And he gave them money. He gave one of the players money right whilst they were still there to buy whatever that he wanted to buy. And he drove off with those players to his place in Sifikile. They slept over at his place, where he obviously was quite generous to them in terms of the way he kept them at his place, and until the day of the game. So he did not deny that fact. What he is denying is the fact that he gave them money. He actually offered them money, and they had a disagreement about the money that he had given. He had promised them, and as a result, he's creating an impression that he was actually called by our own player, who actually was soliciting money from him, according to his story that he presented.
Which you can't exactly deny either. Because, yes, these are your players.
Yeah.
But where do you draw the line between truth and not? Because your players willingly went with him. So who established the point of contact is perhaps something that we can leave up in the air at this point. But you'll tell me in a couple of seconds why it is that you believe your players over him. Because it could be that your players solicited money from him. It could be that he went and said to them, hey, you come on board. We'll have that conversation when we come back. Let's take a quick break.
Cool.
Get free accessories valued at 18,000 Rand when you pick up any robust and reliable Mahindra single cab bakkie until the 30th of April. This includes a set of alloy wheels, a fitted tow bar, and rubberizing, giving your business that extra drive to conquer any venture, no matter the road. But stock is limited, so act fast. Visit your nearest Mahindra dealer today or visit mahindra.co.za and book your test drive. T's and C's apply.
I got sick. My life started to feel out of control. It got to a point where I had to make a choice. Trust me, it was a tough decision. But I eventually went to the clinic. For a lot of us men, we see the clinic as a place for women and children. So, it wasn't easy walking through those doors. But it was the place I needed to be, and the first step to getting better. After that, I realized I'm not playing with my health. Now, if I need to go to the clinic, I don't think twice. I choose to stay strong and look after my health. I choose life. So can you. Mina, for men, for health.
Tshwane University of Technology ladies and the University of the Western Cape ladies have a huge assignment to illustrate who is the most educated outfit in the battle of the varsities. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. It is vivid. UWC ladies want the top spot, while TUT ladies are interested in a top half position. Be part of the action. Hollywood Bet Super League. Tshwane University of Technology versus University of the Western Cape on Sunday 30 April at 11. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, OpenView 124. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
The Metro FM Music Awards 2023. Black is back. The nominees for Best House Song are Kususa, Argento Dust and Zakes Bantwini, Asanda. Tanda Zogaja featuring Nhlonipho, Sizobambala. Herienda Soul featuring Anifaku, Umtandazo. Pyro featuring Pixie L, Luandle. Sky Wonder, Amazwi. Let's go! To vote, dial *120 *45787 hash. USSD rates charged at R1.50 per minute. The Metro FM Music Awards 2023. Brought to you by the Mpumalanga Provincial Government. Visit and explore Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Metro FM, it's where you're at. The Metro FM Music Award tickets are now available at CompuTicket and all CompuTicket outlets. Get yours now and be there to experience South Africa's biggest awards ceremony at Mbombela Stadium on the 6th of May. Tickets start from 150 rands. The Metro FM Music Awards 2023. Brought to you by the Mpumalanga Provincial Government. Visit and explore Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. MMA 23. Black is back.
It's exactly 25 of the hour 6. If you are watching this on Facebook and on Twitter as well, do remember that we're going to be putting it up on YouTube as well as the full show. An interesting story that we covered a while back. I think it's maybe just under 2 months now that we covered the story of in the lower divisions of South African football, where qualifying to one day get to the top is the main key. From the stakeholders there, one chairman kidnaps players from the other. The chairman whose players were kidnapped now sits with us and tells us what's happened since the last time when they were here on the show. Just to freshen up your memory if you missed it, this was the Luka Ball Controllers chairman when he was on the show saying that everything is an absolute lie. This is Isaac Mataboge on Everything is a Lie. Did you speak to players from Swartruggens at any point?
No.
You've never spoken to them. You've never offered them money. You've never seen them. You don't know what they're talking about. This is all lies.
Yeah.
Everything is a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie.
They were never in your car. You didn't go into the farms with the police chasing you.
No.
You were never arrested.
No, I never arrested.
So what were you doing at the police station?
Because at the police station, these people who are saying me are already taking the under.
But how did you arrive at the police station?
With the police.
When we say the unders in football talk in South Africa, of course, we speak about players under the age of 23. 21 in the lower leagues. Under 21, 23 when you get to the ABC Motsepe and as well as the Motsepe Foundation. The under 21 players taken, we now know from the DC that happened that all of what the chairman was saying there was untrue. He took your players. He admitted that he got the players. He picked them up. He took them with him to his house. He's only saying he didn't pay them or offer them money. They the ones that solicited money from him. How do you know that that's not true?
Look, it's difficult to believe what that Mataboge said, because as you have correctly said earlier, when we were here, he spoke a different story. When we got to the hearing, he totally told a different story. So already the trust is, somehow violated.
Yeah.
Anything that follows after that would probably not be believed at all. But what is of interest to us is that Mr. Mataboge, traveled almost 170 to 200 kilometers from where he stays to where these young boys are staying, a night before our game against his team. That in itself, you can't even begin to say it is true that therefore he was actually, there was any player who solicited bribe from him. If that was the case, he wouldn't have taken that much effort to drive.
The mud in the lower leagues of South African football. I'm listening to you. And in my head, I'm thinking, when do these players get developed? When do they get, fed? And I don't mean fed food, but fed football. If this is what's happening from senior members who are the ones that are in charge of our football, the ones that are supposed to feed these kids in order for them to become the great players. It's so sad, but nonetheless, sorry, that was an off thought to me because I'm sad.
It is saddening, Andile, because you would expect that a gentleman of Mr. Mataboge's
a team owner,
age, the team owner, who we believe is there to develop the players, would actually understand that an opposition team owner is also there for the same mission, and therefore they should rather complement each other rather than thwarting each other's efforts. So unfortunately, in this case, it happened that he has done what he has done, and who wouldn't even think that he might have actually been winning his games in a manner that is...
Because now you got to question everything.
Yeah.
So my question then is, before I even go to what the sanction was, where are the 4 players now? Are they still with you?
The 4 players are still in the team. We have had discussions with them. They have opened up to us. And of course, because if you remember last time when we were here, we indicated that part of our responsibility is to teach them accountability and to own up to their mistakes.
We did speak to one of the players, of course, the last time around when you were here.
Exactly. So we actually continued on that to make them realize. And we took it to the broader team to make everybody aware that getting yourself involved in things like this ultimately destroys your career, because the reality is that if they somehow were found to be on the wrong side of things, they could themselves be, suspended or even banished from football at all. So their talent would actually be flushed.
So how have you disciplined them in your team?
What we have done is that we put a number of restrictions to them. That one, the start is that they need to commit to the team. Open, give us the details of what happened. They did so. Secondly, is that we need them to inform us of every other activity that may actually be suggestive of, underhand plays. And because we were at the end of the season, trying to suspend them at that time would not necessarily help.
Because you need them.
Because we need them as well, So it's a matter of, trying to guide them, attaching a senior player to them to, mentor them, to guide them, as well as we also do it the same thing. We have started sessions of, leadership conversations with them, responsibility conversations with them, because we want them to learn out of this experience and become better out of this experience.
And then now you are at the hearing. The chair has come out and said this and this and this and this is true. I did go get them. They did spend the night at my house. They were with me and didn't go. What is the verdict? Surely, we're talking about getting banished from football. Surely we're talking about getting points taken away. We're getting about financial sacking as well. What are we talking about? What happened?
It's quite an interesting matter, that one, Andile. We went to the disciplinary hearing with one call. That call was for Mr. Mataboge to be expelled from football and banned.
Yeah.
His team to be expelled from football and banned, as well as his coach and whoever was coordinating, this whole matter between the players and himself. But interestingly, the DC opted to focus the whole matter on Mr. Mataboge and somehow shielded Luka ball controllers out of. And if I were to give you the report, you would actually realize that it is more about Mr. Mataboge rather than all the four people that I've indicated. But having said so, the DC arrived at a conclusion that, firstly, they did not actually pronounce on whether Mataboge is guilty or not. But instead, they went to sanction Mr. Mataboge. The first sanction is that he should be suspended for 4 official SAFA matches. And the second is that he must actually be charged 20,000 rands. And the third one is that both Mr. Luka ball controllers and ourselves will forfeit the points of the match to SAFA. And these sanctions to us are quite bizarre, in that SAFA has pronounced through the CEO of the South African Football Association that they want to, eradicate corruption.
Clean football.
And everybody else who has got information must actually come forth. Quite interestingly, we answered to that call. And you would have expected that, given the gravity of the transgression by Mr. Mataboge, it would have been a straightforward call for a dismissal, expulsion, and a banishment from football.
So he just gets
not go that way.
4 matches banned or suspension and 20,000 rands.
Yeah.
The same amount of money he was willing to just shove off to players.
But here's what is interesting. When you ban a chairman for 4 matches, exactly what does
What
the
are you
chairman
banning?
do with the matches? He comes there as a supporter, he watches football. So are you saying he must not be a supporter, he must not watch football? And what benefit is it to football itself? Because actually...
And what pain is it to him and his team?
There's no pain.
They don't suffer any...
I'm sure he laughed at those sanctions, because it's
So do you feel hard done by those?
Extremely so.
I must be honest, I agree with the one that points go to neither of you, because I still feel your players contributed to it. So to give you the points would be to a benefit to which you were a part of the issue. You were part of the challenge. You're part of it because, yes, your players, they were not kidnapped in the middle of the night and put in the boot and tied. They willingly participated in this crime.
What is quite interesting is that when you look at how it is structured, the chairperson of the hearing is saying that it has come to their attention that Swartruggens Football Club refused to play the match. He further goes on to say, because Luka ball controllers had taken 4 of their players. Now, if it is like that, you would expect that based on that statement, he would have actually ruled differently. That if you take my players, for whatever reason, which will impact on me participating fairly in the game of football, you therefore are on the wrong and therefore you must be sanctioned accordingly. But he then says, whilst you did not manage to play because this one took your players, I am punishing both of you. I think that was totally wrongly concluded, and I think the chairperson missed the point in that particular one.
Well, we're supposed to speak to the South African Football Association and its CEO. We reached out to him. We have a great relationship with him. He's always on the show, accounting for anything, but he's unable to at this point because you've decided that this matter is not over. Do you want to take it further?
We have decided that we are going to challenge this matter, and I think we have placed some grounds to that. The first thing is that Safa Bojanala itself, whoever prepared the charge sheet, did not actually subpoena the key witness. The person who actually uncovered this whole thing was not called. The person who was actually coordinating this whole corrupt activity was not called in that hearing. And I think the other thing that worries us the most is that if we were to accept this, the sanction is not even equal to the transgression. You know, you can't be found guilty of corruption because when you look at the charge, it actually says that there was bribery and corruption and inducement. That is serious in terms of football, and therefore, if you get that to be serious, then your sanction should be equally serious. In this case, it's just a slap on the wrist.
It really does sound like it. I don't know what you feel about that. 086 000 2160 is a call, and 060 552 7303. We're going to take a break, but in case you missed it when it did happen, this is Isaac Mataboge, the chairman to whom we're speaking of now. We spoke to him a little bit earlier, and he's now sent us to his lawyer. Timmy, should we call the lawyer and find out? Let's give him a call. You can listen to this. It's Isaac Mataboge here, adamant that he didn't kidnap the players, which of course has now proven to be untrue. Yeah, but why are they lying about you? Because it's their players that are missing.
Because we are going to play together. That's why you think it's me. I take the unders.
And you didn't take the unders, you?
No, I didn't kidnap the unders. The mother was in coordination with the unders. We say open the case of the kidnapping. The unders is saying, no, I'm not kidnapping. I'm at Rastimbe. Another one is only at the ground. He was at Viras or Masige. The unders at the chat. You know that the chairman.
The chairman is here. He can hear you.
Yeah, he phoned another unders. He says at the church.
Who's at the church?
I don't know. The unders. Another one.
Alienating victims or limiting contact with their family and friends, such as isolation and ongoing rudeness, are forms of control and social abuse. Break the silence and report these immediately. Metro FM, turning 16 days into 365 days. This is Sport Night Amplified with Andile.
It's the Monday gang. I've got Mazola with me. I've been saying it for so long on this show that I'm not going to say it today. I want the callers to say it.
Say it.
No. They must say it because they attacked
say it
me.
for you?
No, Mazola. They attacked me.
Hashtag Arsenal Arsenaling.
Hayi abakanyube mhlambe ufane bayodluza. Jimmy in Botlhokwa, I think it is. Oh, it's Jimmy Maka. Una lo mongwe wa Botlhokwa wa tla o thoma wena mara wa go Maka khona motsepe.
O re mpontsho go tlha go mmagwabeni go botlhoko ra sana le draw. Re tsamaya di ka ka yo.
Ke le boritse Jimmy. Let's go to Senong out in Rustenburg.
I wanna Arsenal ne ba tlo play ka pele weekend.
Do you still think you're going to win it?
The time I collect 3 points at Etihad, it will be the day when I leave the league.
Weekdays 6 till 7 p.m. on Metro FM.
Metro FM Music Awards 2023. Black is back. Share the Jägermeister, share the love, share the Amapiano. The best Amapiano artist is brought to you by Jägermeister. The nominees for best Amapiano artist are Deep London and Buhle, Hamba Wena. Gaba Canal featuring George Leslie and Russell Zuma, Hila Nhlizio Yam. Gabsida Small featuring Msaki, Kusela. Daliwonga featuring Mello and Sleazy and MJ. Abomvelo. Wanitwamos featuring Master KG, Low Sheen and Nkosazana Daughter, Sofa Slahlane. To vote, dial *120 *45787 #. USSD rates charged at R1.50 per minute. The Metro FM Music Awards Best Amapiano Artist brought to you by Jägermeister. Metro FM is where you're at. Not for sales to persons under the age of 18.
Tabo, we need a printer for Sarah's school homework.
I need one for my office as well.
Sarah's teacher suggested HP Smart Tank. It comes with ink that will last for long, maybe up to 3 years, and no more hassle of cartridges. Refilling will now be easy with simple ink bottles. She also said it comes with 3 years of warranty. You can even print from your smartphone using a mobile app. Such peace of mind.
Wow, let's get it today. Print, do, save more with HP Smart Tank.
So vele, the drama in the DStv Premiership is here to stay. Royal AM iyafukuza, looking for maximum points to secure a position in the top 8. But you think Cape Town City will allow this? They want to settle in the top 4. Twitli Twatha tackles the citizens. This is Ibola Letu. Drama, big. Royal AM battles it out with Cape Town City on Saturday, 29 April at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. # We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
Hey, remember, man, Black is back with the Metro FM Music Awards 23. Tickets sales start from 150. Get yours now. I know a lot of you are already calling saying, hey, Andile, I don't have, unfortunately. I don't have. So you're going to have to go to CompuTicket and get yours now, and we'll meet in Mpumalanga. We have also on the line Tsogofatso Mekgwe, who is the lawyer representing Isaac Mataboge of Luka Ball Controllers. Tsogo, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Andile, and thank you for the listeners of Metro FM to listen to us this evening.
So, why is Ntate Mataboge not wanting to talk to us?
Everyone has the right for a representative in South Africa.
Mm.
And as we were representing Tate Mataboge in the recent DC, he spoke to us, and then it's important for us to respond to any allegation that might be made against him or anything that related to him in this matter against Swartruggens FC.
No, I only ask because the questions that I have, you can't answer. He was on this show. He made some statements that I now want to ask him about. Like, for instance, he said he was never in Swartruggens. He has never known or seen those players. Statements that we now know are untrue.
Andile, you must remember that the matter before, it was of kidnapping. If Mr. Mataboge had kidnapped the players, which is something that didn't happen.
No, but the question was, and I can replay it for you, do you know these players? Have you ever seen them? He said he's never met them. He doesn't know who they are.
Yeah, I don't deny that Mr. Mataboge said that. But again, what I'm saying is that the case that was brought, probably Mr. Mataboge was thinking that the people that he said he took was other players, not related to the players. And then you must put it straight on the record.
I don't understand that. No, I don't understand that. The players that we think he took were other players, not these players?
Yeah, remember.
Did he take players from Swartruggens?
It was a mutual agreement between the players and Tate Mataboge.
But Tate Mataboge solicited the players?
No.
So how did it happen?
We found out on a DC level that during the week prior before the game, one player by the name of Kolebogeng or so called Tate Mataboge, and he wanted to sell a game to Tate Mataboge. When Tate Mataboge said he's okay, he doesn't want anything to do with that. Now he called again and said he also wants to be part of Tate Mataboge's team, hence he's trying to assist Tate Mataboge. We even found out at the DC that that young man that player said he cannot be trusted in front of the chairman who's sitting there in that show. So this allegation that were made against Matawoke that he took the players, it's something that needs to, probably someone wants to tarnish the name of Matawoke.
So tarnish the name. He took 4 players a day before a game of the opposition that he was supposed to play. Whether, they went willingly or not, he knew the impact of what that would do to that game in particular.
And
can we agree that was underhanded?
No, but the player admitted that they requested to go with Ntatemata. They asked Ntatemata for them to go with him to Sisikile. Ntatemata didn't ask those players to go with him. And then it was wrong for Mr. Chue to say Ntatemata drove over 100 kilometers to Swartruggens to go and take those players. Ntatemata is a business person who was going to Mazista, and Mazista and Swartruggens is nearby, where he said, okay, let me go.
But the fact is, he drove that far. I mean, yes, he might have had other business there, but he did drive that far.
Yeah, remember the distance between Swartruggens and Mazista is about 7 km.
No, what I'm saying is from where he lives, whether he had other business somewhere else, he did end up from where he lives. He ended up in Swartruggens. Is that correct?
He went to Mazista for a business meeting.
Let me ask you this then. Is it normal and is it, common practice for a chairperson to speak to players from the opposition team the night before, go and collect them under whatever guise and keep them at his house?
Let me explain like this, Andile.
Because even if you're going to sign players, you don't bring them to your house the day before to go sign them. You can sign them and leave them where they are.
Yes, I'm trying to explain something.
Please do.
One, those players during the week, by the name, the player specifically by the name of Uleboge, also called Mr. Ntatemata twice during the week. And then Ntatemata kept on saying, we'll call back. And then when Ntatemata went to Mazista for business meeting, after business meeting, he went and listened to that player. One, he didn't know how old was that player. He never met that player. And then after that, those players requested money from Ntatemata.
So it was a coincidence that they were all under 21?
Which was, we don't know. Probably Uleboge arranged it. Was it Uleboge arranged it because of, he said he did, thereby by Swartruggens FC, they do not look after them. That's what he said. It's his way.
But Tsecho, you as the lawyer and the advisor, if Mr. Matabuko gets a call that says from an under 21 player that says, hey, I want to sell you the game, or hey, I want to come with you the night before, isn't the right thing to do to report it to the authorities?
Okay. Did you know that the player was 21 or 18 or 16?
I believe that he did. Because there's no way you take 4 players and they all happen to be under 21.
Yes, that's where that player from Swartruggens who said he cannot be trusted.
But answer me this then. Is it normal to get, even if the player's 40, a player that says to a chairman of a club, I want to sell you a game, and the chair says, I'll go and meet with you?
You know why they wanted to sell the game?
No, it doesn't matter why. What I'm asking is it okay for a chairman to speak to a player who says, I want to sell you a game, and the chairman says, okay, I'm coming to meet with you?
But you must remember this. It's not okay, but you must remember this, Andile. And Ntatemata went to a meeting and went and listened to the players. He didn't want to go with them to speak it. But this
so they forced themselves into the car.
This Uleboge arranged other players to go with him to say they want to sabotage Swartruggens. They want to assist Luka because they want to be part of the team that will be promoted next season. I hear
you, Tsecho. Yes, I hear you. And this is something that the chair that's sitting here is going to have to account for in a couple of seconds. But what I'm asking you is, you are defending your client in his actions. He goes, after hearing, the meeting was called, the agenda on the meeting was, we want to sell you a game, or I want to sell you a game. He goes to listen to that. He may, whether he was in the area or not, but he goes to meet a player that says, I want to sell you a game. He then drives away with 4 players. They didn't put themselves in the boot. He acknowledged them. He agreed with them, whatever that they had agreed upon, put them in the car and drove with them away from where they were supposed to be. Can you acknowledge that?
I acknowledge, but remember that the player requested to go with Tate Matabo.
Tate Matabo is a grown man. Tate Matabo can say, no, this is not right. So Tate Matabo does not know right from wrong?
But remember, Andile, this goes 2 ways.
He's the chairman. He's the chairman.
As much as Tate Matabo is wrong by accepting them, their request to go with them. So we are saying, okay, Tate Matabo is wrong for accepting the players, the proposal from the players to go with them.
Who all happen to be under 21 miraculously, and keeps them so they don't make the game. Tate Matabo, does Tate Matabo not attend all of his games? Does he not hear what these 4 players are needed? Does he not then say, hey guys, what are we doing now? The game against me, you are needed and we can't play. Come on, there's a lot of grey areas here. There's a lot of that Matabo has done wrong here. Surely there must be some sort of accountability, man, Tsecho.
But remember the person who arranged those players. Tate Matabo found Olebogen with those players. Tate Matabo knew that he's going to meet one player who's Olebogen. And when he arrived there, he found other players. You can even ask the chairman.
He still took them.
He's sitting there by across the table. He knew what Olebogen said regarding this match.
So what is Tate Mataboge's feeling on the sanctions that have been handed to him? The slap on the wrist of 20,000 rands as well as the 4 games.
He's not okay with it because of he didn't do anything wrong.
No, Tsecho, you can't accept accountability for everything that you've and then come back and say he's done nothing wrong. We've agreed that he's done a lot wrong.
And Andile, today we are still studying the verdict.
No, but you've said to me that he's done something wrong, so you can't then say he hasn't done anything wrong.
No, I said we are accepting that the proposal that those players requested, he accepted by going with them to Swartruggens. And then it's wrong, Andile, to say that the Matabo gave those boys money. You know why? One boy said, that thing, it looked like it was prepared. It's like a movie, I don't know, Titanic or what. One player said, no, Tate Matabo gave us 5,000. The other one came said, no, Tate Matabo gave us 3.5. So who do we supposed to believe in that match? Those players, they lied. They lied to the DC. Those players, they agreed to saying no. They cannot be trusted. All of them, they said they cannot be trusted. We asked all of them why, when that happened, didn't you tell that they true? They couldn't answer that.
So you believe that 4 players...
Be liable? And then we again, you must remember, if they are saying that the Matabo must be suspended for certain games or be banned, as Ntate Chloe and his team wants to happen, what will happen to those players because of they were involved? Should we submit and appeal as well and say, no, but these players must be banned from football?
This is the first time that you and I agree on anything. I do think there needs to be something done to the players as well. But I do think that there's a huge accountability that sits with a chairman, a grown-up, a person who takes 4 children or 4 unders, as they're famously known, to his home and keeps them overnight, and then says he knows nothing of the plot and the plan. And to think that those players went all the way there without a promise of money is far-fetched. But Tsecho, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for talking to us. And hopefully the next conversation, Tate Matabo will come on and speak for himself.
Okay, we will arrange with Tate Matabo for him to speak. But Andile, I would like to say something before.
Please.
You know, this thing, it looks like a plot. They plotted it against Tate Matabo. And then I want to send a strong message to the Swartruggens FC. It's wrong for them to say Luka ball controllers must be expelled. Because of Luka ball controllers, it was not the respondent on the charge sheet. There were other 5 respondents on the charge sheet that were cancelled. And then we just kept quiet because of the things we don't know the rules of the game. The other one is that they are saying they agree that the points must be forfeited, but they forget the competition rule says when you cannot play a game or whatever that happened, you must play under protest. They never played under protest. And today they come and claim that there must be points that be forfeited. How?
So, from my understanding, you're saying that the Swartruggens chairman plotted this. He spoke to his players and he encouraged them to do all of this in order to hurt Ntate Mataboge.
Yes, hence I said earlier, I said it looks like they planned it together because of their stories. They didn't align when we were at a PC. Hence, one said 5,000, one said 3.5, one said... Yes, we stopped at Tlokwen to buy beers. One said no, we stopped at Sigile to buy beers. One said, and then Tata Chua said, the player, the car that came to collect the players was Kondo, the silver Kondo. The players said it was the orange Golf or Polo.
All right.
So there's something that is fishy.
Well, he's right here. Let me talk to him. Takofatso Mekwe, the lawyer for Ntate Mataboge. I appreciate it. You've got to look at yourself, though, at some point, Che, and say, for my players to concord all of this alongside with the chairman, whether the chairman called or they called, what is wrong with me and my team that I need to fix? Something is not right with your team for them to even get embroiled in something like this.
Look, I wouldn't readily say, yes, there's something wrong with our team, because I have spoken to the vulnerability of these young boys. I mean, one of the boys in the hearing even told the chairperson that, look, when I was offered 1,000 rands for not honoring one game, that money would be good for me because I would be able to buy a school shirt and a pair of shoes, which I don't have at this stage. But having said that, allow me to quickly go and address
Please.
and the
I want to take Usi, Pesoshanguve and Yanga in Cape Town. Okay. We've got about 3 minutes that I'd love to take those two calls, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, I find it quite interesting how creative Tseho is with what he says. Because Mr. Mataboge, you would remember that even in our report, we have indicated that Mr. Mataboge engaged with a player in the local community to approach these young boys.
I remember
we
that.
have the recording of that player confessing at the police station that indeed he was approached by Mataboge for him to get the 5 players. So I think Tseho is speaking this because he's not even aware that we've got a recording of that particular player, which we of course we will present to the appeal board that because we have appealed this matter. But secondly, when you ask a young player to say, can you be trusted? And a player says, after this event, I don't think my team will trust me. And then you ask the question again, can you be trusted? And the player say, I don't think so. It is based on the fact that the player is aware that what they have done is wrong. But Tseho is coming here and presenting it as if the player has forthrightly said, I can't be trusted and I have been engaged in this particular matter. But I must also indicate one important thing. You must understand that Tseho has a motive why he has to come to the national radio and misrepresent the facts, because Tseho is the owner of Luka Ball Controllers. If you understand, Tseho is the owner of Luka Ball Controllers. So it is important.
I thought the chairman was.
No. He has actually sold the status, but he's still involved in the team. So
when was the status sold?
This season. You'll remember that last season we had issues where Tseho
you should have told me this before we spoke to him.
Where Tseho had to go for promotion and he caused a lot of halabaloo.
I want to take these calls. Let's go to Yanga out in Cape Town. Yanga.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm not well, man. The future of football is not looking great.
Yeah, this story is bizarre, Now only to find out that the very same lawyer is a team owner.
Imagine.
So, one question to the chairman. Chairman, I'm glad that you are appealing the matter because, the sanctions are really ridiculous, And I just want to ask you, if your argument about the kidnapping and fraud, have you registered a case with South African police, so that we can deal with the criminal matter?
All right,
when it comes to this case, because kidnapping is a criminality, So yeah, I just want to find out how far are you with the police?
Cool, Yanga. Thank you so much. I finished that one. Sipo, very quickly, you've been holding on for so long. Faith is in this building and she's about to kill me, so make it snappy.
Andile.
Yes, sir.
First, I would like to say, I applaud the chairman for appealing the decision. I followed the matter before. I've heard who's that? The other chairperson. Yes, I've heard him talk on the radio before. I'm not a scientist, but he's lying.
Sipo, I've got to go. I've got to go.
Higher grade. Whatever Nanyogos career, as a career, and then lawyer high, I'm sorry, don't misrepresent that. Sorry. You heard what Mr. Mutwalidi said. I don't know what this lawyer said. He was saying something that I didn't say. That lawyer and I.
Sipo, bye-bye. We got to get out of here. That's the way, I mean, we've carried the story and we'll continue to. There will be another opportunity after the appeal again for us to have a conversation. But thank you so much for coming through. Tata Mataboge, I know you are listening. You're more than welcome to come on the show. I enjoy our conversations, if anything. Speaking of enjoying conversations, I'm about to enjoy a conversation right now that continues all the way till 9 o'clock because I listen with Faith. Faith?
Hello.
What do you have going
on? We've got a couple of conversations where we have to talk about the political discourse of the country. So we're first in conversation with the City of Johannesburg Council Speaker, Colleen Makubela. Of course, you know, the City of Johannesburg is without a mayor yet again. Of course, Tapelo Ahmed starting in January. And remember, he was on the show actually when we first started, on our first week of the show. And I asked him a very simple question. Will you stay on long enough as mayor so that you can make tangible change? And he said, Faith, I am not going anywhere. But
you know what, for everybody in the city, all of us that live here,
he's gone somewhere.
Good riddance.
Right, and so we're going to be speaking there to the Speaker of Council because also, remember, the executive is also dissolved. So when the executive is dissolved, who's the MMC now? So those are the questions that are going to come in. And then we're going to have a very robust, I mean, these two energy experts and analysts are individuals that do not hold back when it comes to unpacking the severity of our power crisis in this country. We've got Tsepo Khadima as well as Andile Ncube in the studio with us this evening, just to give us all sound understanding of what is happening when it comes to our electricity. They're also going to be giving us some insight in terms of the conversations that also been happening with Eskom, because I think that the time for us to play euphemize the situation of Eskom and euphemize our power supply is way over. So they're going to be in conversation with us. Just a note, we did reach out to the Department of Electricity for the Electricity Minister. He said that can we please defer the conversation so at a later time. So he'll be joining us a little bit later on as well to continue with that conversation. But it's necessary because we're sitting at stage 6 officially, and I wonder what stage we're sitting on unofficially. And then we're also going to be in conversation with Action SA's KZN Provincial Chairperson. The food nutrition program, once again, at the fold. Food was never delivered, and expired food was delivered in schools. 2.1 or 2.5 million kids have been affected by this. Over 5,000 schools have been affected by this. Who was given the contract? And why was only one company given a contract to take care of the entire province when it comes to the delivering of food? Nobody wants to account to that. In fact, speaking about nobody wanting to account, we did reach out to the KZN MEC for basic education in KZN, and they've been giving us the runaround. So if they are listening to this, we've reached out, my producers reached out, we've asked you to come on, at least to tell us exactly what's happening in your side, and basically we can say that they're blue ticking us. The conversation though continues, and then we're also going to continue the conversation looking at the Eastern Cape government about the procedures that were allegedly followed to facilitate the visit of the UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in the province. If you remember, about 500 delegates landed at an airport that was actually designed for military base over the weekend for a celebration. And there are also conversations about how they allegedly own a farm or an actual lodge in the Eastern Cape. Who sold it? How much land do they own in the country? Who allowed for that land to be sold? Because the allegations go so far as to say that military base actually belongs to the Sheikh's family now. In terms of the construction work that was being done, it was sold, allegedly. We'll get clarification there from the DA Shadow MEC for transport in the Eastern Cape. A lot is happening in our country, and I think we need to get to the bottom of who's been selling what in South Africa.
I need to go check. Maybe I'm sold.
Who knows? South Africa and her citizens.
I could be owned in the UAE. I must go check the way things are just getting sold left, right, and center, and nobody accounting for it. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We really appreciate it. We'll do it again tomorrow between 6 and 7. It's a Wednesday, so we focus on football. I asked you a couple of questions a little bit earlier, but maybe tomorrow we'll get the answers to that. I'm Andile Ncube. Timothy Miranda produces the show. Malcolm Glover is the tech producer, and the genius behind the sound of the show is Thabo Nkwala. And of course, the lights crew make sure that we are everywhere on social media. From all of us, Pela Pela. And so, me.